a sight for my soul.
Hear ye, sound the trumpets. For I have arrived. What's up? What's good? What's happening? I am the actual King Smith, and this is my first stream of 2025. We back up in this thing. I've been off a couple of weeks traveling, seeing pretty much the Midwest and all of the South. Not the South, the South. And we are back live for our first live stream of 2025. Hope y'all are doing okay. And I'm glad to be here, first of all. Tonight, we're going to cover a couple of different things and kind of introduce something that I want to do for 2025. I have been having some conversations with some people about just life in general, right? And I can't speak for y'all, but my 2024 was fantastic. It had its ebbs and flows like everything in life does. But for the most part, 2024 was great for me. And 2024 laid the foundation for how 2025 is going to go. And I started thinking about something. I've been frustrated with a couple of different things because I can see potential in other people, them there, and it's frustrating when they don't listen to it. So I said, you know what? I have to quit wasting my time trying to get people to see their potential. Focus on putting the message and put the information out there. And then if people want something that's catered to them, it's going to have to cost. My time is way too valuable. And I've decided that that's the route that I'm going to go. But what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to create this thing called having a royal mindset, right? Understanding what it means to live your life to the best. Now, who am I to offer this kind of information? And I'm a regular dude. I'm a regular dude that's, like I've said earlier, I've had some ups and downs. But for the most part, something clicked about 2.5 years ago that once I decided to do the work to change things, to have a shift of things in my life has skyrocketed. It has skyrocketed. Post-pandemic, things have been fantastic. And I want to share that knowledge. I want to share what I've learned that's helped me out in hopes that it can help somebody else out. So if that's what you're looking for, rock with me. Rock with me as I complete this series, as I have these live streams each and every Wednesday night. The goal is to be consistent and go live every Wednesday night, 8:30. Some Wednesdays are going to be a little bit different, but for the most part, this is going to be the time that I go live. 8 o'clock U.S. Eastern Standard Time Zone. So rock with me. Rock with me, all right? We got a couple of people in the building, and I want to acknowledge them before we get into this. Shout out to my new subscriber on Twitch, Demo3. I appreciate you subscribing over there on Twitch. We got God Happened to Me over on YouTube said, good evening. Hey, I give you a salute as well. All right. That's my lady. She's also supporting me over on Facebook. See, I appreciate that support. Thank you, love. We got the sports bar in the building. Said, I'm looking for a Bama win. Anybody know where I can find one? That's Coach. Coach, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you for popping in. You know what? Bama didn't have a good year this year, but they'll bounce back. They'll get things figured out. And Coach Saban's first year at the helm at the University of Alabama, they had what you would call a disappointing season, but nevertheless, them young men will find a way to turn things around and return back to dominance and at the top spot of the throne, college football. But I appreciate you popping in, Coach. Good to see you, brother. We got anybody else in the building? All right. Without further ado, hold on. Let me see if this works again. Yeah, I got to work on this crown. All right. What I like to talk about or cover are three different things that you should consider. And this is part of laying the foundation for a royal life. This is what I'm calling this. This is what I'm using personally going forward. And I want to showcase how this is going to work for me and use it as a blueprint for others to follow. Again, if this is what you're looking for on my page, on my live streams, tune in with me. If you know somebody that could use this information, send it to them. All right. The first thing that you should do is understand what is your vision for how you want to live. When I say 2.5 years ago turned around for me, it was because part of what I needed to do was have a vision for how I wanted to live. Understand that at the end of 2019, going into 2020, I had to move into a house that had no central heat and air. Okay, this is first world problems. It had a pellet stove. Do y'all even know what a pellet stove looks like? I never heard of one. The kitchen of the place that I rented out, it didn't have like a regular stove. It had one of those camping um stovetop ovens that I had to cook on. I was in a bad spot. And it was my own fault. A lot of it was my own fault. I was in my mid 30s, didn't have a vision for how things wanted to go, just had a huge lifestyle change, right? Things were rough, but I didn't have a vision. And it took me getting to rock bottom to then say to myself, this is not how I want things to go. So I sat down, I started mapping some things out, started trying to figure out what it was that I needed to do to turn things around. And part of that was creating a vision, getting a vision for how I wanted my life to be. And once I started that vision and wrote things down and spoke to it almost every day, that's when things started to look up and look great. So you have to ask yourself, what is your vision for how you want to live? Okay. Try to think if I could think of some examples of people that had a vision, and once they executed that vision, things turned around. I guess we can start with this one. Martin Luther King Jr. The only reason why I'm bringing him up, I was just down in Montgomery, Alabama, and down in Selma, and I got a chance to really see some of the history that the South had gone through back in the late 50s and 60s, which, if y'all think about it, wasn't that far long ago, where you heard somebody like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. give the I Have a Dream speech, where he had this vision of equality and justice for all that helped guide the civil rights movement. Now, you can say that things have gotten a lot better currently versus the civil rights movement way back when. There's still, to me, a little bit ways to go. I don't think things are truly equal or there's true equality and true justice among everybody. But I don't think that race has anything to do with it. I think a lot has to do with your social economical background. Part of when I talk about my vision is this, right? Where I lived for the first 6 months of the COVID year, from March to pretty much almost my birthday, August of 2020, it was bad. It was bad. And if something bad were to happen where I lived, it was a good neighborhood. The house was terrible. My landlord was horrible. I've got stories about this lady. This lady is crazy. I'll say her name very publicly because I'm not afraid of her. Beth Callion. If you ever rent from anybody by that name, or you're thinking about renting from somebody by that name, don't. That lady is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I said what I said. All right. But having that vision of how you want your life to go, the vision matters, right? The vision is like that royal blueprint for your reign, how you want your life to be. It sets and defines what you want to do and how you want your life to be going forward. Quite simply, without a vision, actions lack purpose, and any progress that you do becomes aimless because you don't know where you're going. I know where I'm going. I hit 95% of my goals for 2024, and I'm extremely happy about that because what that allowed me to do was set up the right foundation for this year, in which I'm focused more on my mindset this year than last year. Last year was about getting rid of debt. I accomplished that like nobody's business. Okay. So the vision and how you want things to flow and go matters. Let me come in here and see what the comment section is talking about. Michelle said, Oprah, you know Oprah? Can I speak about Oprah? I'm not too familiar with Oprah's story, right? I can tell you a little bit about Nelson Mandela and how he was looking at a free South Africa and how that vision allowed him to stay motivated during, what was he in jail for? Like almost 30 years? Insane. But his vision and his unwavering belief in that vision led to the transformation of a nation. People can't have a vision inside of their own household. We see examples of that now with these badass kids running around. This next generation, I'm worried about because the parents lack the foundation and the vision inside of their own home, or they're too busy worrying about keeping a roof over their head that they're not focusing on their family. I'm in a lot of different groups with guys where guys are looking to support each other. And one of the most common things that you hear when people are really going through it is they're getting a divorce. A divorce can wreck your life. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Even if it's amicable, it can wreck your life. Okay? Those that bounce back and do well, like I have, had a vision. I had to get my butt kicked a couple of times. But once I decided to shift that mindset and have that vision, things turn around and skyrocketing. Proverbs 29 and 18. What does Proverbs 29 and 18 say? I'm going to bring that up. Proverbs 29, 18. Proverbs 29:18 in the King James Version states, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. It is sometimes expressed as where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint, but blessed is he who keeps the law. That's the English Standard Version. Okay. Another one right here is where there is no revelation, people cast off restraint, but blessed is the one who heeds wisdom's instruction. See, I could bang with that. I could bang with that, right? You have to have that because without vision, you perish. Plain and simple. Shout out to Pete. Greet Pete is in the brother. Hey man, I appreciate you popping in. Salute to you. So that was Proverbs 29 and 18 that talks about vision or lack thereof. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I'm going to move over to the next part of what I want to talk about today, right? So the first part is what is the vision for how you want to live? Figure that vision out. You don't have to have the plan, but have the vision. All we're doing right now is laying the foundation for that royal mindset, for that royal life. Next thing is what does it mean to think like a king or queen? You don't have to be a king to nobody but your own life. Plain and simple. Michael Carasquillo said, "What is this? This is me trying to help somebody out in life, my man. Too often, I've been giving too much time to people individually. We're trying to get them to change their mindset. So what I'm doing is I'm laying the blueprint publicly for anybody to come in and follow. All right. Take what you can, leave what you don't need. Certainly share because somebody could use the message. All right. So part number 2, what does it mean to think like a king or a queen? Now, when you think about royalty, what comes to mind for you? I think stuff like respect, certainly discipline, and accountability, right? The royal crown are accountable to the people that are under their rule, right? Under their subject. I'm only asking you to be accountable to yourself. Be accountable to you. You are your own king and queen. Your subjects are you in your life, and you're accountable to you. Now, if you have a family, your accountability expands to the immediate people around you, those that you birth, those that you care about, right? But you still your vision and a good foundation in order for you and your family to be successful. If you don't, that's when you see people departing, divorces happening, your kids not showing you any kind of respect whatsoever because you don't have that vision. You don't think like a king or a queen. All right? So start practicing self-respect. Start practicing self-discipline. Create that accountability not just for yourself, but have a certain lifestyle that when people see you, they know how you act. I want to share a story of somebody that 24 years ago, I was attending a party of somebody that I thought was going to allow me to drink underage because everywhere I went, I was able to drink underage. And I was about to go grab a beer, and the person that was hosting said, "Nope." And initially, I was kind of stunned by it. And I told him this a couple of weeks ago when I went to his he had retired from service after 20 some odd years. I had recalled that story because that's how he was 24 years ago, and that's how he is in his daily life, and that's how he still is to this day. And one of the things that he said, "Man, if I could go back, I would allow it." And I said, "Actually, no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't allow it because you setting that good example showed me what it means to have a good example, whether it's going to make you popular or not." And he still told me that he'd go back and do it. And I said, if I knew what I knew and I went back and you let me do it, I still wouldn't do it because of the good example that you set 24 years ago. I think that stuff like that's important, right? Integrity. Integrity. Integrity is a word that is just lost. The Air Force has 3 core values. Service before self is one of them. Excellence in all you do, and integrity first. Those are the 3. And people really misuse that word, integrity. They think they have integrity, but they don't. Integrity, if you look at it as a noun, it's the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles that they state right here is he is known to be a man of integrity. If you look at Webster's dictionary, firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values, incorruptibility. I like that. I like that. Incorruptibility. Can y'all think of anybody that you know in your life that has really good integrity? Think about their life as well. A good bit of people I know that are very moral or a very high integrity life, or they have very high integrity in their life. They're also living pretty good, right? Because they're incorruptible. They're not stressed about bad decisions that they're making and what that could come back and mean to them. So they're okay. They're okay in life. The third thing that I want to talk about is eliminating limiting beliefs, right? These are the mental usurpers, if you will, that can undermine your own potential. But what are limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs are self imposed restrictions on what we think that we can achieve, and are often rooted in past experiences, societal conditioning, or fear of failure. A lot of people's limiting beliefs are self imposed. When you say things like, I can't do this because, or I'm not good enough to do blank, or people like me don't do this, those are examples of a limiting belief. If I allowed my limiting beliefs to control me, then the things that I've accomplished in life today, I would not have done. For example, I share pretty often that I've got a stutter, right? You know who else had a stutter that was in a royal bloodline? Well, there's several people. James Earl Jones is a popular actor and voice actor that had a stutter that went on and has done some fantastic works and have won many awards. On the royal side of the house, King George VI, right, who was part of the movie that won the Oscar, The King's Speech. Okay, King George VI. How this fool wasn't even supposed to be a king. He wasn't the firstborn son. All right. But he was thrust into the spotlight when his older brother, Edward VIII, said, yeah, you know what? I don't want the throne no more. He straight abdicated that joint. Said, I'm out. So now here comes King George VI, thrust into the spotlight. Royal people have to speak very publicly. And he's like, you know, uh, right on the form, on the cusp of World War II, I'm responsible for a nation that I didn't even know was going to be something that I had to do. But yet, he's going to have to come out and address the people, which is essential for a monarch to do. But he had this stutter. He was often described as shy and lacked real confidence as well. And there's something about understanding your mindset and sometimes even faking it till you make it, right? Standing in front of the mirror, chest out in like a Superman pose is something that I used to do every morning. I don't do it as often, but that is how I used to start my day. Looking at the mirror and saying that I'm going to make this day my beep. I wish I had a button I could press it and say the word. King George VI got out there and did his thing. He also served in the armed forces as well. And his service had instilled in him that discipline, resilience, and the ability to perform under pressure that makes good qualities for a leader. So he eventually found his footing, found his way, and had the things that were there and the right mentoring, the right training to help him be a successful leader. Okay? It wasn't easy for him, but he did have to build his foundation. So that's the other part right there. Eliminating limiting beliefs. You've got to get rid of them. Okay? How do you do that? How do you eliminate a limiting belief? Ask yourself, is what you're saying based on fact or fear? Here's a fact. I'm 5'8". I'm 40 years old. And I'm a bigger dude. Am I going to go out and jump and dunk a basketball on a 10-foot rim anytime soon? Nope. Not without training. Is it possible that I could do it? Absolutely. I believe that if I got out, worked hard enough, lost a crap ton of weight, and worked on my bunnies, I could dunk a basketball at 40 years old. That's a belief that's based on something that's not a fear. I give that as an example, but it's the closest thing. All right. You also want to ask yourself and figure out how do you conquer this, right? I don't want to do this because of what? Why? Why don't you want to do this? Why don't you want to ride that bike? Why don't you want to get on that scooter? Think about it. Think about it. Michelle said that Moses had a stutter too. Moses in the Bible? What? Moses seemed like a dude that was a natural leader that had no flaws. I did not know that Moses had a stutter. Okay. So, how we're going to lay the foundation for a royal life. Create a vision. Ask yourself, what does it mean to think like the top dog? To think like a king or a queen? And take a look at eliminating limiting beliefs. From there, excuse me, you can use these things to then create your own vision on how you want to live and use that stuff as a basis to start governing your own life. Okay. I want to give a shout out to Brooklyn Mosley. Brooklyn Mosley is a former boom operator who I used to be in the Air Force with, that is now a state rep in the state of Kansas, where she was elected to represent the people in her state, in her district. And I want to give a royal salute to her. May she prosper and do well and answer to the people in the state of Kansas. I was just out there not too long ago, which I would have had time to drive up and link up with you, BK. But, life be lifing. But I know that you are going to do well. The people voted you for a reason. Served them well. That is my life. The trumpets. CC Smith said, I believe I can fly. Hey, who knows, in 80 years, what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg might find a way to be able to allow humans to fly. You never know. Michelle Early said, hey, now, bikes are difficult to ride. I'm not saying anything about anybody, Michelle. I'm just saying, if there's a bike there, and you're over the age of 10, you can ride that joker. That is my live stream for tonight. Thanks for tuning in for your royal life starting today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't put it off to next week. The sooner you start, the better it is for you and those around you. Be sure to hit the like button and come back next week as we figure out what part 2 is into changing this mindset and living a more royal life. I'm King Smith, and I'm out. Peace.